Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're taking a look at Call of Duty World War II Beta on the PC. I got to install this at home through Steam, test it out on my own hardware, and give you guys an honest first impressions. Now, it's been a very long time since COD has gone back to a historical battlefield like World War II. This is where COD built its origins. This is where I started playing COD for the really engaging single-player World War II campaigns. And it's really awesome to see a modern COD with high-end graphics set in World War II once again. And there's been a lot of hype for this game, to say the least. Many COD players, or even first-person shooter fans, myself included, are a bit tired of the futuristic COD games where you can wall run and double jump and use all these crazy futuristic gadgets and seeking grenades and all that stuff. Going back to a theater of war that everybody can recognize and that is a bit more simplified with its weaponry is a welcome change of pace. And the game was very easy to get into. Loading it up on the PC, the menu was fairly straightforward. Finding a match was quick and easy, and once I was in a match, I wasn't being killed by items or gadgets that I didn't really understand yet. Everything was fairly straightforward. All the weapons are basic projectile weapons for the most part, and grenades, and so I could basically understand everything that was going on right from the start. Now, the game mode you're watching me play right now is called War. This is an attack and defend style game mode. One team defends various objectives. If the enemy team completes one of the objectives, then it pushes the map further along the linear path. Right now we're defending a bridge that the assaulting team is trying to build so that they can push their tank across it. So it's really cool having these different types of objectives as the map pushes up, and it does require a little bit of learning, especially for the attacking team. Defense has got it pretty easy, where you just have the objective, stand near the objective, kill anybody that gets near it. Assaulters need to really figure out the best way to push forward and hold off their flanks to get it. I had a few rounds where the assaulting team was just kind of clueless, but I assume that will get better over time once players get a little bit more experience. Now, the graphics and visual fidelity of this game are top notch. It looks really good. The world, I wouldn't say feels totally real. It doesn't have the same kind of destruction as you might expect from maybe a Battlefield game, where the size of the maps are considerably smaller. I was talking to Choco Taco while we were playing it together, and I said that the maps sort of feel like really elaborate paintball fields, and that's sort of the Call of Duty map design style. They're not really as big as they might have used to have been in the past, with slightly more open lanes and pushing tactics. All the maps are heavily designed with very specified lanes and flanking routes, and it does cause the maps to feel a little bit fake. Despite the incredible graphics built around them, you do feel like you're in a really high-end amusement park. And to COD veterans out there, this isn't going to be a surprise or even a negative factor. I only bring it up in that I think a lot of first-person shooter fans were excited about this Call of Duty game because they thought it might revert the franchise a little bit to its origins in terms of map design being a bit bigger and more open. But I think it's still sort of the classic COD TDM style game modes built around these small, heavily designed maps, and because of that, it does feel a little bit fake, even with the incredible graphics. It's hard to get around the idea that you're in kind of an arena built to look like a World War II battlefield, but it's still a very small and focused arena. Now, you can see I've switched the footage over to TDM a bit more. This is more fast-paced, definitely more moving than the war game mode, less in the way of front lines, more chaotic, and I've got my kill streaks going on so I can call in airplanes and other sorts of strikes to aid me in my quest to get the most kills. And TDM plays out pretty much like any other Call of Duty game. It really is standard Call of Duty with a World War II skin, but without the double jumping and all that kind of stuff is kind of nice. Also, not having weird gadgets like auto-seeking drones and stuff is nice, but as you can see here, I'm calling in a bomb right now that I'm able to guide on its way down. So obviously, we're not getting rid of some of that guided missile attack technology, even though it is totally inappropriate for the World War II theater of war. They're still not going to dumb down some of these kill streaks because of the available technology. Now, when it comes to upgrades, unlocks, progression online, all the standard Call of Duty stuff is still there. They've sort of renamed some of the classes to divisions, so you've got airborne, you've got mountaineer, you've got infantry, and those divisions just represent different class types. So the infantry is sort of your standard assaulter type. You can use assault rifles and the M1 Garand, and then you've got mountaineers, which are like snipers and stuff like that. You've also got like a shotgunning class as well. The airborne get SMGs. The weapon classes play out very similarly to the way that they did in previous COD games. SMGs are still very powerful and very quick. The assault rifles allow you to do a bit more damage at range with full auto, and snipers are very good in certain alleys and holding off very specific lanes. You can see here I'm running the shotgun class, which actually has the option to switch out your standard buckshot with incendiary rounds if you want to let your opponents on fire. I'm not 100% sure on the specific value of that just yet. It does do damage over time, so if you don't kill them immediately and they run behind a corner, you can get the kill later on. It definitely looks terrifying, and it's kind of crazy to hear people scream as they die from it. The set pieces and cinematics of the maps are really good looking. As I said before, it's like being in a really awesome paintball field or the world's coolest World War II amusement park. It doesn't feel real, but it looks cool. You got planes that fly overhead, artillery strikes that come in, everything's on fire or sparking or muddy or half broken. I mean, like, they really put a lot of time and detail into every nuance and crevice of these maps, as one would expect with every other Call of Duty title. The production value here is top notch. But how does it translate over on the PC platform? I'm sure a bunch of you guys have been wondering, hey, we've already seen this game on console. Tell us about the PC platform level. That's what we're here for. Well, I gotta say it actually performs pretty well. One of my favorite new features is the fact that it can run at over 90 frames per second now. The last COD game, they capped at 90 FPS. The one before that I don't believe was capped, but it ran into weird frame rate, lag, mouse input issue stuff. I have no idea. The engine's super weird on PC. And so this time it's uncapped, and I didn't find too many sensitivity input issues this time around. So that's really nice. I didn't have to do a whole bunch of like research and frame capping and all this other stuff to get my sensitivity to feel right in game. And also playing at 1440p didn't give me any sort of weird lag or input issues, which it has on previous COD PC ports. So that's really nice. I didn't feel like I was sort of working uphill to try and get this COD title working properly on a PC or feeling the way that I'd like a PC shooter to feel. I think they've come a long way with the quality of their PC ports. Allegedly, there's dedicated servers here. I won't say that the netcode felt amazing. There's definitely some weird moments where kill cams don't feel like they're syncing up properly with how you saw your opponents. Like, you would see them for like 1 second on the kill cam, they see you for like 2 seconds. That kind of stuff is pretty standard from what I've seen in just COD in general. I think that goes across for console gameplay as well. And so that's just something to keep in mind there. Some of these soldier animations and movements felt a little bit jerky at times, and it also felt like players might have been teleporting slightly at times. I don't know if this has to do with somebody having a crappy ping or something like that. They don't show the pings on the scoreboard, which is pretty typical for COD games, but also disappointing, because it does help you kind of troubleshoot or understand maybe why your opponent was so laggy or how you're dying behind corners. You say, oh, the guy who killed me has a ping of 200. That might explain why this is happening. But now we just have little bars. Some are yellow, some are green. We don't really know what ping levels we're working with. There's a few other small UI things that are annoying, like on mouse sensitivity, rather than having a number input, we have just a little slider bar with lots of tiny increments. So it can be kind of annoying to try and figure out what your sensitivity is or where you like it at. You know, just tiny little things like that that I think PC gamers have come to expect as standard on most of their first-person shooters, but are not necessarily included in this game. Are they game breakers? Absolutely not. The game is still perfectly playable on PC. It looks good. It runs well. I was running at over 100 FPS on 1440p with mostly high graphics the whole time, and it looks great. It performed great. Some of the people I was playing with did crash a few times, and I did crash once. However, I didn't upgrade my NVIDIA drivers to the latest version before I started playing, so it's possible that that had something to do with it. Another interesting issue that we ran into was that we were playing with 3 players, and we joined servers, and a lot of the time one of us would be on the enemy team, which was a little disappointing if you're trying to play with a group of friends all on the same team, work towards a similar objective, and then one of you keeps getting switched to the other team. That's a little bit disappointing even when you're in the same party. Again, the game's been beta right now. Not sure if this is intended to try and break up too many people being on the same team to balance out teams and whatnot, but it was a little bit annoying. Now, to wrap up my first impressions here, out of all the COD games I've played over the past 5 years, this one plays the best on PC so far, so that's really pleasant. I didn't run into many of the issues that really angered me with the previous COD ports, and so that's great. I have seen some complaints around the internet that some of the issues that I haven't experienced are still in the game for other people out there, but I can't really comment on that other than I have seen the complaints out there. In terms of multiplayer experience, it is still a COD game. If you don't like COD TDM, you probably won't like the TDM in this either. It's pretty much the same thing, except you don't have wall running, double jumping, and crazy futuristic weapons. It's World War II, but maybe that's enough for you. The objective gameplay I think was really good. Is it enough to pull me away from like Battlefield objective gameplay? Probably not, but it is a nice addition to the game, and it's probably the way that I'm going to be playing Call of Duty World War II multiplayer, as the TDM doesn't really appeal to me. For the most part, this game so far has just really gotten me hyped for the single player story mode. The set pieces, the visuals, everything are very, very high quality, and I think the single player is going to totally kick ass. So I'm very excited to play the whole package of Call of Duty World War II once it comes out, but I probably won't be sticking around too long for the multiplayer. That's just personal preference in terms of what types of games I like to play. I'm more objective focused, and I don't know if war game mode is really going to hold me over for that long. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.